Tropical storm Hinnamnor, a threat to Japan. So, a new tropical storm has quickly formed in the Western Pacific in the wake of Tokage last week. It is Tropical Storm Hinnamnor, which is currently located at 26.5 north, 148.1 degrees east. Intensifying quite substantially to begin with here, 45-mile-an-hour winds, a pressure of 1001 millibars, currently moving northwest at 13 miles per hour. This is as of 10 p.m. Japan Standard Time, this August 28th. So the storm moving northwestwards at this time, it won't follow the path of Tokage, it is going to move further towards the west. Here it is displayed on the map. There are no warnings in effect at this time, but here are the wind fields extending out 120 nautical miles on the eastern quadrants and 65 nautical miles on the west. It is currently 586 kilometers from Ogasawara, 1265 from Chiba, 1280 from Yokohama, 1295 from Tokyo, and 1322 from Shizuoka. It's uncertain, very uncertain, where exactly the storm is going to track. Places further west along Japan should continue to monitor this storm as well, all the way down to Okinawa, as you'll see on the latest GFS model, could be threatened by this storm. So the primary hazards are rip currents mainly, although for some of the Ogasawara Islands the strong winds from the developing storm are likely to strike, so you could see winds of tropical storm range up to maybe high-end tropical storm range on some of those islands. Even the short-range track is somewhat uncertain, but it would appear that the northernmost Ogasawara Islands will get tropical storm force winds. Here is the forecast over the next 5 to 7 days, and you can see there just about striking Mukojima, and then moving into this week, this is what our forecast is showing. Slowing down near Okinawa, stalling, and then turning back towards the north and really growing in its wind field by the end of next week. So pretty uncertain, as I say, that that's going to happen, but the model consensus, if there is one, suggests that that might be the case. You can see the JTWC cone on the left hand side, and it is a large cone, so they're allowing for uncertainty as well. Decent consensus, very good consensus on how strong the winds are right now, 40 to 45 miles per hour indicated by all agencies and satellite techniques. So let's take a close look at the JTWC forecast, and they're going for a Kyushu landfall by the looks of things. They're expecting a storm peak of only 55 knots, which is interesting, considering that we're already getting up there on the board. I think that forecast might be beaten quite easily, and this will probably approach typhoon strength, if not get there. This is the crazy GFS model run just now, but this is not out of the question. There it is into a significant typhoon, taking a very unorthodox track down to the southwest, stalling, and then turning back towards the north. There's a quite powerful typhoon moving through Okinawa. There it is at the end frame over southern Okinawa, probably as a category 4. Other models are sort of suggesting this too. ECMWF is actually on board with that southwestern movement. The other models aren't really picking up on the storm so much at all, to be honest. So it is an uncertain scenario as to what we might expect. JMA also pretty much with the JTWC forecasting a track towards Kyushu. And here it is again showing the water vapor imagery and just how that grows towards the end of that sequence. It's a really impressive typhoon if that were to happen. And there it is once again. So we've got mainly two schools of thought, it would appear, what the models are saying and what the agencies are saying, and it'll be interesting to see just how that discrepancy comes about and which side will end up winning. But that is the GFS run again. Here's some rainfall estimates. So I suppose you could call this GFS run a worst case scenario, and there is the rainfall channeling along just south of Okinawa. There goes the storm doing its loop-the-loop, and then back up towards the north, towards Okinawa. If it does stall in that area, it's mainly for the fish, but the rain amounts over water there, 44 inches, really high amounts of rain. But if that occurred anywhere near land, of course, with this model throwing that possibility into the perspective here, you know, it could stall near one of those land masses, and that 43 inches could be transferred over land at a worst case scenario. Well, the main reason why I think this storm will probably intensify much more than the agencies are currently saying is because the sea surface temperatures are extremely warm and pretty much untapped so far this year. As you know, we've had a pretty quiet Pacific typhoon season so far. You can see sea surface temperatures there, 30 degrees in some places ahead of the storm, and in all areas it's 27 degrees or higher all the way up to the Japanese coast. There's also a lot of heat content in there, so this storm has every chance that it will strengthen significantly. Here's the latest satellite imagery of the storm, and it's looking pretty decent when you look at it here. Clear rotation and convection blowing up on the northern side of the storm there, and it's got a good shield of moisture around it as well. So this storm certainly appears to have some potential. Looking at the water vapor imagery visible here, you can see how the storm has been progressing in a longer time loop, and you can just about make out the Ogasawara Islands there marked on the map. And the storm is going to pass round to the north of those islands, could clip the northernmost islands though, so there could still be some inclement conditions there. A wide shot of how the infrared imagery is looking again, and there you can see in a more concentrated loop how the storm has been moving on there. It's a fairly small in stature at this time, but it is expected to grow over time as it progresses westwards. Can't stress enough just how uncertain the models are at this time. So it's uncertain to say where this storm is going to be heading or how big it's going to be. If it hits Japan quite quickly like the JTWC is suggesting, then we expect that the storm won't grow that much. But if it does sink towards the southwest like we're seeing on some of the models, then it will grow enormous as it moves through the Ryukyu Islands for the second time. But that is way out from this moment in time, so let's just concentrate on where it is right now. There it is once again on the rapid scan imagery from the Himawari 8 satellite. It's looking good. It could be underestimated. It certainly has been to this point so far, and we expect further intensification is on the way.